I want to make a short video on the first step of making your Trinketbox project or designing your Trinketbox project on Shaper 3D CAD. In this short video, we're just going to be making, first of all, the four walls of our Trinketbox. You can see we've got the two longer walls here and two shorter walls here. You can see one wall here is it's not as tall, that's the front of the box. And I'll explain why there's a gap there later, but it's essentially to make room for the lid. Okay, so in this short video, we'll be first setting up your workspace in CAD and then making these four walls. All right, so the first thing you need to do is go to your CAD, press on the plus button to open up a new workspace. Then once you've got there, you should have this grid with your axes here. And what we want to do is just first of all set up the correct view. So if we go to View, press Top, and you can see everything we do now will be from the top view of our Trinketbox. Next thing I want to do, I want to set the scaling. If you get your fingers and you pinch them together on the trackpad, you'll see it zooms out. And you'll see this number over here. It was 1 when we opened it. It's now at 5. If you keep pinching your fingers together at trackpad and keep doing it until you get to 10, all right, and then if you click on that, make sure it's set to millimeters. Okay, nothing else must be millimeters, otherwise your scaling will be completely out. And then come over here and click that across to lock the grid at size 10 millimeters. And then you can just press off. What that means is that each one of these little squares represents 10 millimeters on your project. So, and you can see these little squares are combined to form bigger squares. All right, and they're 10 by 10. Right, so there's 100 little squares in each one of these big ones. So what that means is when we're designing our Trinketbox, it'll easily fit on the page. All right, now you can see I'm panning across. For some reason, I don't know why, but on some versions, what you need to do is hold the Shift key down and press your two fingers across the trackpad. Just glide them across the trackpad. On my version, and on most I've come across, you just glide your fingers across the trackpad. Okay? So that's usually the default. If you've got a different version that doesn't work, you'll need to hold your Shift key down and glide it across. On my version, if you hold the Shift key down and you glide your fingers across the trackpad, it actually rotates. Okay? On yours, you may achieve that by simply gliding your fingers across the trackpad. Anyway, you work it out on your version, but the difference being between those two, the first one's called panning, which is this one here. Second one is rotating. The difference being you hold the Shift key down for one of them. All right, I'll go back to View, get me centered back to the top. If at any time you're building your project and your screen goes all wacko and it goes off here, and no matter what you do, you can't find your project again. That just happens sometimes. If you go up to View and go back to Top, it'll bring you back where your project should be. Okay, so that's View and then press back to Top. We're going to start our project at what's called the origin, which is the center of our axes here. So first of all, what we want to do is we want to make a rectangle. So if we go across to Sketch, click on the rectangle tool, come to your origin, and then all you do is you click your trackpad and release. Just click and release. Don't need to hold it down. Once you've done that, drag your finger across the trackpad and you'll see a rectangle starts to form. Now, we want to produce one long side wall, or one wall of our box, and we want to make the long one. Now, the long walls are 250 millimeters long. And remember, this is the top view. So the length is going to be predetermined from left to right here. And as you can see, as you drag it out, that number in the blue box at the bottom is currently 220. Okay? And as I drift it out, that gets bigger. As I bring it in, it gets smaller. That's simply telling me the dimensions of the length of this triangle. Now, we want it to be 250. There's two ways of getting it there. We can either just drag it out until we hit 250, Sometimes, however, you might be working on a project, and you can see it clicks there pretty easy. It goes in increments of 10. You might be working, however, on a project that's, say, 252 millimetres, and you can't really get it there by dragging it out. So what you can do is, if you're having trouble getting it there, or you can make it as big as you like, and then just start typing 252. All right, we want our box to be 250, so I just type 250 and return, and it will snap to 250. So you can either drag it out and then press return, and once you've done that, or you can just type number in and press return. What we need to do now is set the thickness of our timber. It's currently at 16 millimetres. Now this one I can come out by 1 millimetres at a time, but again, if I can't quite get there, if it's kind of bouncing around, not really landing on the number I want, I can just type 18, which is what I want, and press return, and it'll snap to it. Okay. All right, once we've got our rectangle, we need to come across here and exit our sketch. Okay. Next thing we need to do, I'm going to hold the Shift key down and drag my 2 fingers up on my trackpad to rotate this. I just want to get a different perspective now. For you, you might just be dragging your fingers on trackpad to rotate. But you want to get this at a slight angle. Then putting a mouse on the rectangle, just click on it. These vertical arrows up here. You've also got these rotation arrows. Just ignore those. You don't want to use them for this feature. What we're going to do is we're going to extrude or lengthen out that, or give this rectangle some width. Make it a 3-dimensional object. So if we click on the arrow pointing up and hold, so click and hold, drag it up. Now you can see that blue box is there again, right? I can drag it up, make it as big as I want. It actually doesn't matter because all I need to do, it's currently 118. I just start typing on my keyboard and I want to convert it to 90. 90 and return, and it snaps back to 90 millimetres. Okay. Once you've done that, just click anywhere on the workspace to close it off. Now, just a reminder, well, I haven't told you yet, but at any time in the video, just pause it, rewind it, watch as many times as you need to in order to keep up with the steps. All right, next thing I want to do, I want to put a groove in this piece of timber, which is where your lid is going to slide into your trinket box. What I need to do first is just put my cursor on the face of this board here and press the spacebar key. Press the spacebar and it turns into like a 2-dimensional sketch pad. Now I want to go across to rectangle. Just want to think, actually no I don't. First thing I want to do, get off that there, close up the exit sketch. First thing I want to do is go down to Tools and go to Offset Edge. Tools and Offset Edge. Now, with Offset Edge, you need to take care. It needs to be set, for this example, it needs to be set to single. Okay, just make sure it's set to single. Once you've got that there, just click on that. You can see when I click on it, I get the option of changing it to loop, but I don't want to do that. Keep it on single. Come up to this top line and just click on it and release. And you'll see you get this arrow. Click and hold on that arrow and drag it down 5 millimetres. Again, if you can't get to land on 5, drag it down as much as you want and then just type 5 and return, it will snap back to it. Okay, it's a really, really easy feature. All right, once you've got that, click off. Now we want to extrude this line as well. We want to offset this line as well. So once you've clicked off it, come back to the line, zoom in if you have to, don't go on the face, you have to get right on the line there until the line's highlighted. And we want to offset that one another 5 millimetres. All right, once you've got that, just click off. We've now got 2 lines which we can use to create our groove. Once you've done that, just click done. Zooming out, again, rotate this to an angle similar to what I've got here. Once you've got that, And again, that's just holding the shift key and putting your fingers on the trackpad. Or with the other version, just gliding your fingers on trackpad, you work it out. Once you've got that, highlight the gap between those two lines, all right? And that will be 5 millimeters. Highlight that and left click on the cursor. So these blue arrows appear again. We're going to push that in and create a gap, groove into the timber that's 5 millimeters deep. So left click and hold, push it in. You can see it's gone in 3. I'm just going to type 5 in my keyboard and press return. It's pushed it in 5. All right, we've now got the first wall for our Trinket box, but we need to create 3 more. We're not going to go around and create 3 more walls. We're just going to copy this one a number of times. All right, and make it very easy for ourselves. All right, so what we need to do now is to copy this, you double click on the face there, and you see these arrows appear, and very importantly, a copy button will appear down here. Okay. If you don't press the copy button and you click on these arrows, you'll just move this piece around. You won't achieve anything. So make sure you click on the copy button. And then, I'm just going to zoom out a bit. Pan across. And then click on the arrow and hold. Drag it out and release. You've made 1 copy. Click and hold again. Drag it out and release. Click and hold, drag it out, and release. Right, we've now got 4 walls that are the same length, which is a good start, but our box doesn't have 4 walls the same length. It's got 2 walls the same length, and 2 walls are a shorter length. So we're going to just sort of keep these 2 as they are. They're the 250 length walls. If you click on that line down here, you see 250 millimeters appears at the bottom. That tells us that line there is 250 millimeters long. So that piece is 250, and the rest of them are as well. What we're going to do is we're going to focus on these 2 over here, and we're going to change them to 150 millimeter lengths. So we're going to have to take 100 millimeters off them. What we need to do that is just rotate it so you can see the edges of the timber like this. Put your cursor on it and click it. Now you can tell you've got these blue arrows again, and it says it's 250 millimeters in length. You might be able to see these black arrows going across here. We need to change that to 150. So all we need to do is type 150 and return, and we've got 150. Come across here, do exactly the same, 150 and return, and we've now got the 4 lengths of our wall. But as you remember, one piece needs to be shorter than the other, or sorry, less wide than the other. Now, actually, what we have to do, because this other piece is not meant to have a groove on it, what we can do, the shorter piece. One of these pieces here, we need to put our cursor inside this groove. All right, you can see that's a groove in there. Put it on the inner face of the groove there. All right. So we're not looking to touch on this face or the top one, but the inner face. Click on that there. It says currently 13. What that's telling you is that from this line to this line is 13 millimeters. To get rid of that groove on this one piece, we need to change that to 18. So what we need to do is type 18, and that groove's gone. All right. We're almost done in creating our pieces. Let's say we've got our 3 pieces with a groove, 1 piece without a groove. That's our front of our box, that won't have a groove in it. The other thing we need to do is we need to reduce the width of this. Okay, it's currently 90. We want to change it to 72. So to do that, actually, sorry, we need to change it to 70. To do that, all we need to do is click on either face, like for example, this one here. Tells you it's 90, we want to change it to 70 and return, and we're done. Okay, and now we've got the 4 walls for our Trinket box. As I mentioned, just hit the pause, try and copy that a few times, listen to the instructions, and in the next video, we will just align the pieces into the shape of the box and put them where they're supposed to go. All right, thank you.